What is one of the solutions to the quadratic function? Y equals x squared plus 5x plus 2. All right, I'm going to show you a way to put this all in the calculator without having to deal with all of this stuff. This is from the quadratic formula that you're going to learn. And you might, if you're lucky, you're going to sing Pop Goes the Weasel, believe it or not, to learn this thing. The good news is you don't have to memorize it. It's on your formula chart. And the better news is, right now we're not even going to use it at all. We're just going to do it in the calculator. Okay, you have to be good and solid with remembering how to put this in the calculator. But that's not too hard to learn. Once you get that, this should be pretty easy. Okay, so I'm going to put in this, y equals x squared plus 5x plus 2. Since everything is all on one side, and we have y by itself, or sometimes you may have a 0 here in place of y, since we're good there, then we're ready to put it in. So I have my calculator cleared, and I put it in x squared plus 5x plus 2. All right, there it is. Now, this is what you need to make sure and remember, okay? We've done the second trace screen before. Actually, I'm going to graph it first. I'm getting ahead of myself. You graph it, and you make sure the solutions, which are the roots, make sure they're on the screen. If not, you may need to adjust your zoom or your window, which we've learned before. Okay, now that this is on the screen, you're going to go to second trace. We've used this screen for several things. We used it to find the intersections, and we'll be using that some more. We've used it to find minimum vertex, maximum vertex. Right now we're wanting to find roots or solutions. Another word for that is zeros. So we're going to go to 2, and I want to go ahead and find the zeros. Now, you see the little blinking guy here that appeared? Here's the trick to this. We want to get the exact roots, okay? You could get the approximate root by moving the cursor, and you might even be able to eyeball it and get 0, but see how it's not landing on 0 for me? It's just not working. We could maybe zoom in and get better at that. Or another way that I'm going to show you is, you see how it's saying left bound? It's telling you to get the little blinky guy to the left of the first root. And here's how I want you to kind of look at it. Okay, look at your graph going left to right. Left to right. So when you do that, this is left of the first root. This is right of that root. And then when you follow the graph around, this is left of the second root, and this is right of the second root. If you can remember that and get little blinky guy in the right place, you're going to get all the answers very quickly and very easily. So I need to go left because it's saying left bound. So I'm going to use only the left or right arrows. I use the left arrow and go right here. Anywhere to the left is fine. Right here is great. Push enter. Now it says right bound. So now use the right arrow and get it just about right here, a little bit to the right. I'm holding the calculator at an angle so you can see this is kind of like left and right. Okay? Now it's right. Push enter, and when it says guess, push enter. You get this weird, crazy, scary looking number answer. But it's not scary because you didn't have to do anything to get it except put it in the calculator. I'm going to write down as much of that as I care to, negative 4.56 or so. Negative 4.56. I think that's good enough for me. That's one of the roots. One of the answers, okay? Now I'm going to get the other answer, going back to second trace again, 2 for 0 to go to the 0, and then left bound. Now I'm going to hold it this way because I'm going left to right. Left bound is a little bit like right here. I'm using the right arrow to get there. There's left bound. Push enter. Now right bound. Use the right arrow to go a little further. Push enter, and then push enter for guess. And there's another weird, crazy number that didn't cost me any sweat to get it because it's just all in the calculator. Negative 0.438. Negative 0.438. Okay? Now, one of these matches mathematically with one of these answer choices. The one it matches with is the answer. So now we're going to do some more calculator work. I'm going to clear this guy out. And we're going to put all of these in the calculator until we find the right one, okay? And you're not used to seeing these, but we're going to show you how easy it is to put in. First of all, notice the whole top is divided by the bottom on every one of these. The entire top is divided by the bottom. For the calculator to read it correctly, we want to put the entire top in parentheses, which several of you guys have gotten used to doing some other things similar to this, okay? So when I put this in the calculator, the entire top is in parentheses. So I'm on my regular screen, not my y equals screen. I put in -5, since it's in front, it's the negative, not the subtract. -5 plus, now here's a new button that we haven't used, the square root button, okay? That's in here, it might be blue or yellow depending on what calculator you have. We're going to use the second key, and we're going to push the x squared, and we get square root, okay? Now, this little parenthesis only belongs to what's inside the square root, which is 17. Then I close it. But then, remember, you know what? I forgot my parenthesis. So I'm going to go back. I forgot what I said was so important. I got a parenthesis in the front. I used insert for that, second INS, second delete. Okay, I'm going to put the other parenthesis to close that guy. Now, the entire thing is encased in parentheses, and the square root thing is in its own parentheses. Now divide by 2. Push enter. Check it out. -0.438. It matches one of the ones we got. So we lucked out. We didn't have to do all of them. The answer is choice A. All right. We're going to fly through the next one. It's very similar. What we're going to do here, before we can put this in the calculator, we have to make sure everything is on one side. This 1 hanging out by himself, not going to work. We got to move him across the wall. -1, -1. So we have 4x squared minus 6x minus 1 equals 0. This is what goes in the y equals screen. 4x squared minus 6x minus 1. Okay, now be thinking right now, do you remember how to do this? You graph it. You make sure the solutions are on the screen. They are. Now, once again, you could zoom in and you could get a close to exact answer that way by zooming in real close. But I just like this second trace way because it's so fast. You go to second trace and you're going to go to 2 to find the 0. And then I just hold it like this so I can see that this is left, that's right. I use my left arrow to get the blinking guy to the left, push enter. Use the right arrow to get the blinking guy to the right, push enter, and then push enter for guess. One of my solutions is -0.151. I'm going to write it down somewhere. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing again. Second trace, 2 to go to 0. Now I'm doing the other side. So I look at it this way. This is left. Because what you do is you follow the graph around like that. Okay, now that's left. Push enter, go a little bit to the right, push enter for guess. We have positive 1.65. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to quickly put in, we're going to go to our regular screen. We're going to quickly put this guy in. Now remember, I want all the top in its own parentheses. And if you remember from what we just did on the last problem, everything in, depending on what version of the calculator software you have, everything inside the square root will have its own parenthesis that the calculator starts for you. Okay? So it's going to look like that. So I'm going to put in parenthesis -3 plus, and then I do second x squared right here to do the square root. Let me put the calculator beside this so you can see what I'm doing. All right. Hopefully you can see everything now. All right. So we have all that, and we're going to put 13, close that parenthesis, close the other parenthesis, and now divide by 4. We don't get... Now, don't get tricked. You see this and you get excited, but this one's positive and this one's negative. It does not match, okay? Close, but not working for us. All right, let's try it again. Oops. We're going to go back to the regular screen. And we have parenthesis 3 minus square root 13. Close it. Close the other one. Okay? Divide by 4. I'm doing this one, by the way. So divide by 4. And now we have negative 0.151. That's an exact match. That one's the answer.